Welcome to Confluence, the podcast where hospitality, leadership, and mindset come together. Join your hosts, Santiago and Kristen, co-founders of The Columbian, a multi-cafe and roastery in Canada, as they delve into the transformative power of these three key elements on your business.
Hey, Kristen, how are you?
Good.
So, podcast number 3. How's it feel?
Feels great. I'm loving this.
Yeah, it's very good. It's really nice to be able to share little things that we've learned along the way when we started this journey with the Columbian, and it's very exciting to be able to talk about it. Like last time, we talked about our values and how that like really has reshaped or like that tailor-made our culture in the company, and it dictates the people that we need to work at the company and who we hire and how we run the company. So that's very cool. Yeah. But today, we get to share something very cool.
We do. Today, we are going to be talking about really building and forming your mission for your company.
Cool.
In addition to a few other things, I think people really commonly will, research or hear about companies building like a mission and a vision. I think that we have gone even more into depth with what that really means and what that looks like.
Yeah, I think it speaks just to the intentionality for the Columbian.
Yeah.
I was really I just didn't really want to do something like that, or because like I worked for so many companies when I was younger that they just like feed you this thing. It's like, this is what we believe in and this is our mission, and it's just super dry. So I just really wanted to be intentional about just really have that kind of like permeate what we do, and just like trying to remove all ambiguity from everything that we do. So I think that's where, as much as we can call it a mission or a vision, I think we decided what our core focus was going to be.
Yeah, and then the core focus, as we share with our listeners, like what that means, it really is like getting extremely like specific, but with a lot of simplicity as well, just to create like a lot of clarity about like why our business exists and what our business does.
100%. And I think it's the shorter and the simpler it is, like the easier it is for your people to really follow it and understand it. Because I think at the end of the day, it's just like the values. It's like those are your commandments, and like that's your goal. And if you get too wordy or add too many things to it, then it just maybe dilutes it a little bit.
Yeah.
So like for us to say like what's our core focus? It's not coffee.
It's not coffee, which surprises a lot of people.
100%. And it's just like the one thing that we do really well. Because coffee is great. Like we buy amazing coffee, but it's making people feel special.
And
I think like when we tell a new hire or we tell somebody that works in the company, hey, like what is it that we do? And they kind of like go, oh, we probably do coffee. And it's just like, no. Like the one thing that we do is we are here to make people feel special. Yeah. And then it gives us an opening to really talk about what that looks like in a hospitality company. Yeah. And then we kind of like go down that rabbit hole of like, again, we're not in coffee, we're in hospitality. So like, what does that look like? And then you get to kind of like take this buzz down this alley and like checking out all these different doors of what like hospitality looks like, what making people feel special looks like. And it just creates a really good conversation and a really good understanding for everybody that's working towards the vision of the company, where the vision is like where we're going. So like we're all getting on this bus. Yeah. But where's the bus going ultimately?
And I think to have a lot of clarity around where you're going in your business is so important. So when we talk about like that term, like core focus, we're kind of splitting it up into like the why and the what of our business. Yes. So for anyone who is like, okay, well, what the heck is a core focus? What I will say is if you have a business right now, you have a core focus, you just might not have the words to describe what it is. Yeah. When we first started the business, we had a mission, and the mission did have a little bit more of that coffee kind of focus in it, but it still had the people piece. So our original mission was basically using coffee as a catalyst to create community.
Yep.
which is something that we absolutely still do.
Yeah,
and
we still
we've
do
always
today.
done that.
I think we just
Yeah.
have simplified it again because
Yeah.
it's not just about the coffee; it's about the experience.
Yeah, it's absolutely about the experience. So if we take like what our core focus is, what we want to do, what we did is we have it broken down into like 2 different kind of pieces to bring that core focus together. So the why, which is like what is the purpose, what is the mission of the business, what's the cause, what's your passion, why does your business exist? And then the second part is the what. What is your niche? What are you really good at? Like, what are we good at as a business? What is the one thing that like we wake up every morning for? What is the thing that sets us apart from any other business, whether it's in our same kind of industry or whether it's not? What is that niche? And I think if you can really clarify the why and the what, then that gives you like a really powerful core focus.
Yeah.
And I see, even in us for a little bit, it was like, okay, well, to really pare it down to like something so specific, like what if we're missing something? And I think that fear of missing out can really affect a lot of people's decisions when they're creating a core focus, because they're like, well, if I focus on this and this is my reason and this is my niche, but like, what about this or what about that? But I think for having to have like really like powerful like impact, the more you can simplify things
100%.
and focus in, the more powerful you're going to be able to move forward.
And it also helps you define kind of like your guest or like who your customers are.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a little bit related to that book from Seth Godin, Tribe, where if you decide why you do it and you decide what it is that you do, it actually really defines the people that you want to do it for and why you're doing it for them. So like for us is like why? Because we want to make people feel special. Like the coffee has got to be amazing every single time, but there's got to be that added value to that cup of coffee that we're selling to that person, and at the end of the day, they can get that coffee anywhere. But the reason why they keep coming to us is because we make them feel special. And then like when you break it down to the what is it that we do, it doesn't have to be super complicated. It's just like simple yet extraordinary hospitality. And then it's not like you have to do these elaborate things to make people feel special. I mean, sometimes all you have to do is just like ask them, hey, how's your day going? Or when they're leaving the shop, it's like, hey, thank you very much for coming in. I hope you have an amazing day. Or something as simple as just like being acknowledged when you walk into a hospitality business. Like the amount of times that I have gone to places that they dialed in the design, the product is good. But man, the customer service or the customer experience is like lacking. I'm like, I'll never go there because I'm going for the experience. I can cook food at home or I can make a drink at home. But if I want to go to a spot, it's because I'm looking to just do something different than what I do, right? Like I can get food anywhere. So it's like, let's do more. And I think that's when we think about the Colombian and the people that we bring in, and like the people that we hire and the people that help kind of like put this whole thing together. It's about like having that experience.
When you're talking about the experience, something just came to mind. So we've like encountered this multiple times where we meet someone and they find out that, we have like a coffee business. Mm-hmm. And then they share with us like, oh my gosh, we actually went to a coffee farm, whether it was like in Colombia or like Hawaii or like Costa Rica. And they're like, oh my goodness, we got to visit a coffee farm and that was the best cup of coffee we have ever had in our whole life. We will never forget it. We've never had anything like it again.
The amount of people that have gone to Costa Rica or have gone to Colombia is like, oh man, I went to this farm and it was lush and it was beautiful.
So good.
And they made me this little cup of coffee and it was just so delicious. And I'm like, I've been there. The coffee's not very good, but oh my God, is it gorgeous there.
And the experience of being like that hospitality of the farms.
And like people back at Origin, 9 times out of 10 are super warm and super welcoming of tourists. So I think is that like you're already set up to have an experience.
Yes.
so when we take it back to like here, like let's say Canada or Edmonton, is like, how do we do that sort of thing? And it's just like building relationships, right? Because what I find now, which is then this is going to blend into our vision. I'll talk about it in a bit. Is like now that we're going to have close to 6 shops here right away. What I've realized is that every time that the Colombian goes into a community, we're not just a coffee shop. We are a gathering spot where people come to meet the neighbors. They come and get their coffee. They come for breakfast every now and then. They come and get a pastry. They bring their kids for a donut. And it's just like really impacting that community by creating a space where we welcome them, we take care of them, we get to know them, and we get to serve them a great cup of coffee.
Absolutely. So coming back to our core focus, you know, as we've explained, we're determining the why of our business. So the why of our business is making people feel special. The what, our niche, is through simple yet extraordinary hospitality. So your niche should directly support what your why is.
Yes.
And then when you take your core focus, that is something that you should be using to make all of your decisions. So if you have like an opportunity come up, maybe it's adding like a new product to your line, for example, you should always be taking that decision and putting it against your core value. Is this decision for our business going to support what our core focus is?
Yeah.
And if it does support the core focus, then absolutely that's like something that you should explore and go for. If it's something that maybe is going to support your ego and it's not supporting like your core focus, and that happens quite a lot in business, I think.
100%. There's no alignment, and I think
there has to be that alignment.
Even outside the core focus, then you use the core focus as like, okay, does this fit?
Yeah.
And then you look on the other side, and it's like, values are right here. Like, do these align? And then do they come together? And it's like, we're gonna make that decision. We're gonna bring that thing.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna be good for the business.
Yeah.
100%. Like there's got to be that alignment. Like if you do it just because that's a good idea or that's trendy, that's what everybody's doing. It's like that's why so many people fail, because they're just looking to see what their neighbor is rather than just like thinking, what am I really good at?
Yes.
How can I just like take this, run with it, and just like swing for the fences with that little thing that you do.
And that is such a good point. And even for people that are thinking of starting a business, that are listening, or people that have a business, keeping your eyes on your focus is so important. It happens like you have to be consistent and you have to be aware of it. You can see what other people are doing. And unfortunately, sometimes that can make people feel like scared or panicked that they're missing out, that kind of fear of missing out piece. And then they deviate from like what their business actually is. So having this very specific, very clear core focus that you always come back to and always have like in the forefront, I think really helps to keep you in alignment and in focus with what you want to do with your business, and keeps your eye on your own prize, not somebody else's.
Yeah, and I think like an analogy that I always tell to myself, because I really have to, I generate ideas for businesses every day because I'm just passionate about entrepreneurship. But I think what the core focus does is like, I will compare it to a horse that's drawing a carriage. And if you just let the horse loose and do whatever, like the carriage is going to be destroyed and just going to go whichever way it goes. But if you actually just take the core focus and you use it as those shades that you put on a carriage horse that is like really just going to allow you to look forward, then all he's going to do is just going to go forward in a way that is cohesive with the carriage so this is kind of like related to, okay, like the business. If you're just like pushing it forward, it doesn't have to be like super fast, but it's just like you're going ahead rather than just like here, there, kind of like a pinball from side to side. And it just keeps you centered, and it lets your team know why, what, and where you're going.
And that is so important. When you, as like an entrepreneur, business owner, when you are clear, if you're clear, and then you transmit that to your team, it creates like a sense of, I think, like more unity. then everyone knows what's happening. Everyone knows where you're going. It kind of opens up that communication. I can see that it also even brings like more kind of, I think, like satisfaction like in the job for everyone when it's like, oh yeah, I'm in a carriage that knows where it's going.
Yes.
It has like more security.
And then everybody's pulling in the same direction.
Yes.
And then it just creates that cohesiveness where like, hey, we're doing this or we're changing the system, not because we want to make your life harder or not because we want to change things so that there's change. Is because this supports our core focus, and this actually is going to help us get to our vision for the business faster.
Yeah.
So like when we talk about our vision, is something that sometimes I think about it and I'm like, oh man, like it's wild that this is what we're gonna do, but I firmly believe we can, and it's having 75 stores internationally, and not necessarily because that ego, because I want to say, oh, I have 75 stores, because it comes with a price, and it comes with a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hard work, but it becomes it becomes that purpose that drives us. And because I see what the Colombian does when they open in a community. And I think it will be so exciting to be able to say, you know what, the Colombian is in 75 communities, and we get to directly affect and create change in that community by just creating a gathering spot, a place that actually creates happiness and creates special places for people. So when you tell that to our staff, and you start seeing people smiling and just kind of like getting excited about it, then it's like, oh man, like what we're building here is a purpose-driven company, where like our purpose is just to take care of people. And then like when somebody joins our company and they find that their purpose aligns with the company's purpose, they want to come and help, and then they buy into the culture, they buy into the values, they buy into the core focus, and then it just kind of like becomes a thing where you don't even have to sell it to them, and then you end up with an amazing team. Like for us to have over 60 employees right now, and probably in a month we're going to have close to 70. Like we don't have a lot of problems with stuff. Like it's not perfect, but the majority of it is like everybody's engaged into what we're doing because we attract people that find purpose aligned with our company.
And I think like we talk about purpose quite a bit, and there's something that you and I have both talked about, and I think we both feel quite strongly about it. And it's that piece that in life, whether it's for your business or whether it's like for your own personal life, it's that purpose over passion. If you are just like chasing passions are emotional, passions are fleeting, even though they're going to feel like really certain at the time. But if you as a human can really zone into like, what is my purpose in this life?
100%.
That's where you can really make like impact on other people. So I think impacting other people is, I think, one of the biggest purposes of life. But I think if people understood that purpose and passion are not necessarily the same thing.
And this is, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole here.
I knew it when I brought this one up.
I think these days, because of social media, we talk so much, or like we see so many people saying, oh yeah, like you got to be an entrepreneur, you got to be a killer, anybody can do it. And it's like, no, not everybody's built for that amount of stress. It's okay to be an employee. It's okay. You find purpose being an employee.
Absolutely.
And then there's this other thing where everybody's like, oh, I need work-life balance. But really when you dial that back a little bit, and it's like, okay, you need work-life balance. So it means that the job that you're doing, you don't really enjoy. So you're essentially living for the weekend, or like the days that you have off, or the time that you have off. And then it's like, well, then why don't you seek something that feels like play most of the time? And then that's where like purpose comes in. And like I've had many passions. They come and go.
Absolutely.
But the one thing that is always been present for me is I want to care for people. I want to make people feel good. So for me, building the Colombian and doing what I do gives me purpose. And it's not just a passion, because then when it gives you purpose, then you're like, I'm doing this because I believe that this is the right thing to do, and it's something that is going to give me a lot of satisfaction. And because I get that satisfaction, then I can keep on doing it for a long time. So then I'm not seeking that work-life balance, because most of the time when I come to the Colombian, it feels like play. Like, for example, today I went into the new shop that we're building. Yeah. I did some work in the morning. I installed all the metal work. Then I had one of our friends help me install it. Then he's like, "Oh, I'd love to stop for a coffee at your Forest Heights location." I'm like, "Yeah, let's go for a coffee." I walk in there, and then I have like 2 lovely conversations with 2 customers that are excited for what we do. One of them was like, "Oh, I love that you just opened this location here, because I don't have to go all the way over there. And like I come and it's full and it's amazing." And like those are things that give me satisfaction. And when things are hard, or when I'm like, "Oh, why am I doing this? Why am I taking all this stress or on all this risk?" It's like, because I want people to feel like we are changing their life or bettering their life, but maybe just provide them a place to sit and have a coffee. So tying it all back to kind of like the core focus, you really need to align your life purpose, especially as a business owner, with what your business is. Because if you're just doing it to make money, you might make a lot of money, but man, you're going to be unhappy. And it's going to feel like so hard. And it's going to feel like you're just like pounding the pavement every day. To like getting up every day to make coffee or build a new coffee shop, or to do things that align with my purpose, align with the core focus of like the why I'm doing it and what it is that we're doing. It just changes how you look at business, and it changes the way that you look at it. And it's not about like how fast can I make money. It's like, how much impact can I actually create with this company? Not for my benefit, but for the benefit of my purpose.
Absolutely. I think having that kind of heart-centered purpose, it can't be money-focused. I absolutely agree. You really have to come from the heart and come from that purpose of life. So we make people feel special through simple yet extraordinary hospitality, and that is the core focus of the Colombian.
100%. So like when somebody is like thinking of like, how do I create that kind of business? I will tell them, okay, look at what values align with your life and your purpose. And then from there, kind of like tie in what is something that you find as a core focus. And then that will help you create a really good culture and a really good direction, so that then you can communicate that to your people. And then you just kind of like create like this little ball that kind of like dictates all the decisions and which direction the company is going. And it's also ever changing. Like it's a living document that at some point it will change, and it's totally okay, because just like passions change, at some point your purpose might change or might take a detour. But for you to really believe in your business, I think you just have to kind of like keep the pulse.
Great.
It's very exciting. So number three of our podcast. I've been itching for so long to actually share this with people, and it's like really nice to put it out there, because along the way we've had like a few different mentors or like read a few different books, and I want to share this with people, because some of the small business owners out there are grinding it, and like they're working really hard. And it's like, if I can share a couple nuggets with someone to make their life easier, like that's another thing that gives me purpose. It's like, how can we help people run better businesses? So thanks for putting this together.
Stay tuned. We'll be doing an episode every month. And Confluence.
Cool. See you soon.